Hey y'all, welcome back to Knitting in Our Jeans. I'm Liz.
I'm Carolyn.
And we're back upstairs.
Yes, so we apologize for the poor lighting conditions, but I finally got to the point where I can get up the stairs pretty well.
You can. Well,
yes.
It's because you graduated to
the cane, yes. The cane.
Indoors, she's allowed to use
the cane.
Just the cane.
So I don't have to have someone with me to be moving a walker and all that kind of stuff. And we start in-person physical therapy on Tuesday, so I really can't wait to see what they have me doing.
Is it 2 days a week or 3 days a week?
I will see what Zelik says.
Ah, well, it's a good thing I made your masks.
I think probably 2 days a week, so we'll see. I mean, right now it's sore from what we did today.
Well, we did what was recommended and what you told me you had been doing.
Yes, but also then I added in the up and down.
Oh, God, yes.
The sit to stand is what it's called. Or stand, yeah, stand and sit, sit to stand. And I tried to do it yesterday. This is where you pretty much put your hands in a praying position in front of your chest, lean forward, and stand up without holding on to arms or anything else. And I did it once. I couldn't do it at all yesterday.
She stood up and was like, I go up! I go up! And I was like, okay, we've reverted to being 3. What does this mean? I go up!
It was huge. It was huge.
It would have been much easier to understand if she'd gotten the T of got. Much easier to understand that. I got up.
And I don't know that they actually want me to be doing that.
Yeah.
So I stopped at that point.
Well, you tried to do it one more time.
Then I said no.
You decided
I said no.
To not.
So, anyway. So, yes, and you call my other thing the parlor trick is I can lift my leg up onto the bed.
Well, considering some of my friends have been asking how she's been doing, and so I told her, and I was like, how would you like to respond? And she immediately whips the blanket off of her leg, and she goes, here, show them this! So, of course, I'm going to call it a parlor trick. Come on now. It's a party trick. If you tell me you want me to record it, it obviously is some sort of trick. Come on now. So, yes, we now have a video of Mother very, very excitedly moving her leg under her own power.
That's right.
From the couch down and
then
back
up again. Yeah, it's been painful up until a couple days ago, and then all of a sudden, I could move it. It's like, whoa. So obviously things are knitting along in my leg, which is nice. Someone asked me what color my knee is. My color is actually flesh tone on the top. Now, all the bruising from the top is gone. Apparently there's a charming bruise on the back. Anyway, I still love my ice machine. Unfortunately, we have to give it up tomorrow.
Because it is quite expensive to own one yourself.
Well, yes.
And the doctors have said that she won't really need it.
I really won't need it. Ice packs should be sufficient.
But she really likes the machine.
I love this.
I'm really intrigued to see if this becomes what she asked for Christmas.
Yeah, it's the cost of a computer. And they say they only last a year, but maybe that's in physical therapy offices,
Maybe.
So we'll see what happens if I find at the end of the week that I really need one or it's really most helpful. So it actually has pressure, so it can fill the
sleeve.
The sleeve, but I was thinking the little capsules within the sleeve, and then squeeze your leg so that the ice is getting molding to your leg, not the icy ice water, is molding to your leg. That's why I like it. Anyway, what's your email address and stuff like that?
Oh, well, you can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as Toolizzforyou, Toolizzforyou.
And I'm cpredmor on Ravelry. On Instagram, I'm knitting in our jeans, and I haven't been posting a whole lot. In fact, I've stopped posting about the garden.
Well,
we have tomatoes. We got plenty of tomatoes. They're green.
Yeah.
But we have tomatoes, and if they never get any bigger, I'll just fry up some green tomatoes. I think getting a better system would work better, only because there's very few instructions that came with this, and that's somewhat frustrating. I think at this point we probably should be feeding them once a week instead of once every 2 weeks.
Oh,
because
go for it. Try for it.
I may put the Miracle Grow in. Just do a dollop of Miracle Grow, since one of the seed packets gave us that. because ours look stunted. They look like rich tomato plants. I think that I was also having them dry out some because I'm not sure where the roots are going. And I know the lettuce is very susceptible to, oh my God, I have no water. So anyway, I should take a picture of the garden and share that because all of a sudden we fed them last week and the lettuce took off again. So, so that's actually doing pretty well. What else? Well, I've gotten a lot done this week.
I was gonna say, I mean,
the dress that we've been talking about for absolute ages. This is the mock-up, which I can wear outside because we made it out of fabric you can't see through. And I've already taken it in about an inch over here. I think another half an inch on each side. Yes, so that the sleeve actually goes in further. Hold on. Ooh. Okay. So this will come in just a little bit more up here. And then we're going to have this.
I think we should move this to high hip.
Yeah, all right. And then this, the real dress with the Lily Pulitzer will come up to here. Because that'll make it easier
for the pockets.
To get into the pockets. So. Which if I'm walking, I need my pockets to carry my keys and my phone to call people to call for help. But I'm really glad that we made this as a mock-up.
Yes.
I lowered the neckline an inch, and I think that that's a fine neckline. There's nothing to be concerned about there. And it fairly closely approximates my other walking dress. The other thing we could do is actually make a pattern from the other walking dress.
We could do that.
So that's a possibility. But this, Elizabeth cut it out, and I sewed it together this week.
On my machine. How did it work?
Worked very well. I rethreaded. I put a new bobbin in.
Well, obviously, because it's lighter fabric. Now he's using a black fabric.
Well, I started using black, and the bobbin tension was off.
Yeah.
So I wound a bobbin, and then obviously put in the new bobbin, and it's fine.
Yeah.
So
every so often, she gets a little bit like. Well, she just goes, "I don't like this bobbin anymore."
That's right.
I just don't like it.
So I brought one of mine from downstairs. So
maybe I just need. We have to see if they're the same bobbins because they're probably the same size, but it could also just be because
mine are Husqvarna. So.
Yeah, mine are too. They've got the little H on them.
So do mine. So
yeah,
the machine is individualistic.
Yeah, she is.
So anyway, I got this done.
Yeah, good.
You want to talk about anything
else? Well, I finished my Engle.
It is gorgeous.
So I think I do need to block it because it should be long, it shouldn't be riding up, but it might be because they're kind of balloony sleeves.
I think that may be it.
But they are, set, they are set to fit my full arm length, but I actually kind of like it.
Especially this time of year.
Yeah, this time of year. It's especially warm today. It got up to 79 today.
Although I didn't think it really felt all that hot outside.
You weren't the one wearing mohair.
No, I wasn't. This is what I was wearing.
So I think it looks really good. I don't think it looks too, oversized.
I think because it's the mohair.
And I think it's, it's because of the mohair.
And you can see through it.
Yeah, and I had been thinking that I needed to make, I either need, a pair of gray, skinny kind of cigarette pants or a long, I have a pattern for a long maxi skirt that's kind of a slim A-line that I think would look really good, or even
with a kick pleat?
I think it does.
Well,
it has a front, it's a front closure.
Okay.
So it has openings there.
Okay.
And then, or do the dress I wore for the baptism, but that in just a gray. I think this would look really good over those things.
Give me that Syntec box.
Oh, to put your foot on?
Yeah.
There you go. So I think those things might be things that I do to add to my wardrobe, because I realize I don't have a lot of like pants or skirts or even dresses, except for the one I made last week or 2 weeks ago, that are light or medium gray. I have one pair that are, you know, they come to mid-calf, and I don't particularly like to wear, they're very comfortable. I like to wear them around the house. I would like to be able to wear them around more often, but I tend to wear them with boots, and then they kind of look a little equestrian, which is fine, but also, you know, just something to keep in mind. But I do really like this sweater.
I do too.
So what I decided is, so the stellina of the Party Angel, which you can't actually see, so all of this black is actually sparkly black.
Yes.
And it was a little scratchy while I was knitting with it, so I had texted Mom and asked her if she had any plain black mohair, and she was like, yeah, I do. I definitely have some. So when I came over, I had Debbie Bliss. Yeah, and this is, I believe the sparkle is also Debbie Bliss. But I had decided, since the cuffs are done in that black color, or whatever you choose as that color, that I didn't want to do it in the sparkle just in case it was very scratchy on my skin. So I had gotten this sleeve all the way done to the point where I would need that plain black. And then I only had a few more. I had about halfway on the color work, which you can't really see right now because it's a dark blue and black. It's this blue and the black. And so I finished that last night, and I really like it. I still have to weave in the ends, but
You're excited.
I'm very pleased with it. I'm glad it's done. It took me 2 months, and I think that's because of the mohair.
It was getting to you.
It was getting to me, and it just took a while. So yeah, but I think it's a really nice sweater to have. If anyone's like hesitant about it, I would swatch. Definitely swatch and figure out if you can make the sweater in a closer gauge. Like, swatch and figure out what fabric you like. Because I would not have, think I would have liked this as much if I had gone with the given gauge of 3 stitches per inch with the mohair. With Surrey alpaca, I think you can definitely get that because it's much fluffier.
It has more of a halo.
It has way more of a halo. So I actually think this is 5 or 5.5 stitches to the inch. So I did the math, and I made like 3 or 4 sizes larger than I would have. I made the size 6. And then of course I ended up accidentally doing the bottom of these. The reason these sleeves are more balloony is because I got confused and I read the size 7 instructions. So there's
more sleeve.
Just a little bit at the bottom. Not a big deal.
Okay.
Didn't realize till I got to the ribbing, and I was like, well, oh well. Yeah, that was fun. Super fun. But I really like it, and I think it'll be really nice throughout this transitional time, and also probably on warmer days in the winter.
Speaking of which, I think the summer flew by.
Oh, it did.
Well, I can't believe it.
We're all still inside primarily, and it's this year.
I felt very busy.
Yes, but I also think there's a lot of studies right now that are showing that this is going to be a year that a lot of us are going to actually forget, because a lot of our days.
I'm gonna forget.
No, but a lot of our days are similar to the next. So we'll remember the large things.
Yes.
But you won't remember things like, oh, that was the week this happened because, oh, you went to dinner with that person.
Well,
and
to be honest, not working makes a big difference. So for me, and I have not finished hemming the dress. I had pinned it up, and Elizabeth looked at it and went, that's not a good length. So then
she turned around, and her tuchus was a bit out up there.
Well, that's because it was hung up on the jeans.
I'm just saying, the tuchus was not covered.
I'm still wearing leggings because I do have the compression bandage on, so I don't need to show everybody that. Anyway, so I will be hemming up the dress this week, and then we'll be looking at I guess making the changes. Now that has set-in sleeves.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. I think we could just take this in, and it actually ended up being pretty easy. There are two different ways to do this neckline. I would do it the second way instead of the first way they described, because the second way would be to put your edging all around, and then edge stitch your insert, and then just put it in behind and top stitch. Really easy. Really easy.
Yeah.
Instead of sew down here, pivot all the way around, and this dress wasn't pivoting. It just said, you want me to do what?
Yeah.
And then it puckered down here. So I ended up having to take it apart and hand sew it.
I'm so sorry.
And then top stitch by machine. It's not the machine's fault.
No.
It was the instructions, which they decided to do the more intricate first.
Oh, yes.
But I'm pleased with the pattern. And now that I'm getting a little bit more energy, there are all those tops that I can make that I may not wear this year, but I will wear next year. Yeah, because it looks like we're planning to do a lot of sailing next year.
Well, yeah,
Yes.
you're even as, you know, in recovery, you're more mobile than you were
Right before
recovery or before surgery. So
not quite. I wouldn't want to try getting down to the dock.
no, but
I'm moving around.
you're moving around
I am.
lot better.
I am. So by next weekend, watch my smoke.
Oh yeah, I came in yesterday and she goes, we go for a walk twice a day. We go up to the second neighbor's driveway and we come back. And we do the little driveway and up to the front walk and then back. And then we go up to our big driveway. We do the big driveway and then we come back and we do the little driveway up the walk again. And then we come back and then we go home. Like we go back around to the back door. And I was like, okay, we can do it. It's about a 10-minute situation. To which I'm like, all right, so next week we're going to take a round, like a stroll around the block? Like, what?
I don't know. Wait,
yeah, I'm so excited. This is...
Yeah, I may be able to get to the corner.
Considering last week it was just exciting that you were allowed out to, you know, go for a walk.
Yes, they had just said go out.
Yes.
So, anyway, let me see what else is here. I have made great strides on this. This being my travel sweater. We have a finished sleeve.
Oh.
We are very expressed about this. And then second sleeve, I have 4 gray stripes. And I'm now working, I just finished my third gray stripe on the second sleeve. So there you are.
Almost done.
Yes. So this is how you wear it. There's the collar on the back, and it goes like that. Now, at the moment, I prefer my gray circle sweater much more than I like this one. But it may be just that it's been giving me agita getting it done, and that we've had to play yarn chicken. I do like the multicolored sleeve. I think it's quite fetching, as a matter of fact. I'm not sure how I'm going to finish off this one. I may do the 4th gray and then end up finishing it in the flannel pajamas. Yeah.
Oh.
So that they're
do
slightly
a little
different.
Asymmetric kind of situation.
That's right. Because I'm not. Although, you know, what's the bad thing about having a ball of flannel left over?
I know.
So, you know, I could make them matching and it would be fine. So I'm hoping to finish this. I keep saying this. Finish this by next week, but there is all kinds of possibilities of doing that. I have woven in the ends in this sleeve.
Wow.
I have left my place markers.
So you can count and confirm that
Exactly.
you are the same on both sides?
Exactly. Now this one was when I put the sleeve on, and it was to check the length. And I said, all right, this is where it is, and I need double that to get to my wrist.
Okay.
So that's what this is. This is not a decrease. So that is that.
Nice. So I can't remember where I was last week, but this has kind of sat. So this is my pixelated pullover, which has kind of sat in timeout because I had to read the instructions for the princess scenes and I wanted to put the markers in before I even started doing that and kind of conceptualize in my head how they're done.
Mm-hmm.
And now that I've done that, so I put the stitch markers in last night, actually. Or not last night, maybe Friday night. But I put them in, and so they're done. And now I've read through the instructions. I understand what has to happen. But now I have to do decreases and color work at the same time. And so we'll see how that goes.
And how stressed we want to be.
Yeah.
Like me and the skew socks.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, last night we watched Enola Holmes on Netflix. I really liked it.
It was very good.
It was good. Henry Cavill is Sherlock, and quite fetching.
I mean, he's a quite fetching man.
Well, yes, but it was an interesting juxtaposition.
I kind of really enjoyed Sam Claflin as Mycroft as well.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't fit the perception I had of Mycroft, because Mycroft is supposed to be as smart as Sherlock.
Oh yes, but he's also the jerk face of more of the jerk face of the two of them. Yes. So that fit, and I was like, all right.
It was good.
It was very good. If you have 2 hours and you want something that's, kind of light and fluffy, it's beautifully done. It's beautifully shot. The costumes are beautiful.
It was
not
good.
Super historically accurate or adequate, but we're going to move past that.
Right.
Because it was pretty. And I think Millie...
Bobby
Brown did really well, especially playing in the scenes, opposed to
there's Helen,
or opposite Henry Cavill and Sam Claflin and Helena Bonham Carter. I think it was a really well stacked cast.
Oh, I thought so.
And we really enjoyed it as a family. My father, we went to put it on, and my father made a comment on how long it was,
sure we're gonna this.
And then he stayed for the entire movie. He got up to go to the bathroom once, and then walked back in and started to ask questions. We told him to be quiet, and he did, which is rare.
So he
very
was
rare, because he was actually paying attention. So if that's not a recommendation, I don't know what to tell you.
Right. Okay, so you want to talk about anything else?
I talked about my Pixelated. It's your turn.
Okay, so here's Olivia. And she's got a face on both sides. I'm really pleased.
You mean an eye?
Well, yeah, but if you did a profile, last week she didn't have, she didn't have a profile on one side.
Yeah.
So she has a face on both sides. So I did finish her face, and I'm very happy with it. I gave her very pronounced eyelashes. And I did finish the body of her sweater, her cardigan, as I had said. In fact, I finished it twice now. I thought it didn't really matter my gauge for her cardigan, because
it's a cardigan.
It's a cardigan for a pig. Well, I did it the first time, and it looked like a dress. It was down to here, and it looked like a muumuu is what it did.
I mean, caftans are in.
Yeah, but
not for Olivia. Olivia is not a caftan wearing pig.
Well, it would have had been longer to really fit the aesthetic. So I took it out up to the armhole, and I reknit it and one size down, and I'm much happier.
Needles, one size down needles?
Yes.
Okay.
So that was 6s instead of 7s.
Okay.
The rest of her has been knit on 5s, which is what she's holding in her hand, but the instructions had said to do the cardigan in a 7, and obviously I should have checked my gauge. I also did her tail, so she's got her little piggy tail. And I'm really pleased. So this week, the goal is to do one of the sleeves.
And find buttons?
Well, I'm not sure. The buttons might require my sitting longer than I'm supposed to with my leg down.
Oh, okay.
So we're keeping an eye on that. And I had to pay attention to that while I was sewing. So only supposed to be a half an hour at this point with my legs bent.
So it's a good thing we have something to rest your leg on.
Yes. So, so for this, a sleeve this week, and then we'll keep moving on. So she's going to be in fine shape for Christmas.
Yes.
I'll now have to start thinking about what to make my mother for Christmas.
I mean, why don't we just give her a whole bunch of gift cards to food?
But she's not
To
supposed
order
to be going
food.
out to order food. We'll have to figure that out.
We'll figure that out.
We'll
Because
have to
I
figure that
don't think it's...
She's not wearing anything we make.
No. And she's very good at receiving them when in person.
Oh, yes!
I
yes.
don't know if it would... I just don't think it would... She would be as good about being like, oh, I loved it! Here, I wore it! You know? Whereas when we give it to her in person, she puts it on right then, and then you never see it on her again.
No. Although she does wear the gloves, apparently.
Oh, really?
Yes. So
Maybe you should make her another pair of gloves.
I could do that. I certainly could do that. The Thrummed mittens, apparently, were a big hit because she does get cold hands. So those may be good. She drove out to the post office this morning at 7 a.m.
She really likes the post office.
She does. And I'm assuming at 7 a.m. on a Sunday, there's not a huge crowd.
Okay.
I didn't ask.
Yeah. We're preserving our own
sanity
by not asking those questions.
And why she can't mail it at a mailbox right in the complex that
Not going there.
You know, who knows? It's her way of getting out, and I think it's relatively safe because she's getting out, putting them in the post box, and then getting back in the car. I'm assuming. I really don't want to know. Then, let's see. Oh, and then I did work some on the My Boy Lollipop.
Oh, well, I finished a
Oh, well, you talk.
cross-stitched this
Did you?
week.
Yeah, I didn't get to my cross stitch.
So I finished this. It says be bold. There you go.
Oh, that's pretty.
Yeah. So.
Oh, that's lovely.
And I started gridding for a piece. It's gonna say "Stand in the Gap" in orange. It's from Gigi, and from Gigi made it from Gay. So I'm going to probably put that up in one of the frames that I have already up in my living room. But I'm going to put that
Nice.
on here, and I started gridding for it. Since it's all words, I really want to make sure I have the grid there, so I make sure the letters are properly spaced and sized. And then after that, I have a few other. I have so many plans, y'all. So many
it's
plans.
amazing. I mean, I've got fabric for days.
Yeah.
God knows I got yarn for years.
Oh, I know.
I could make her a blanket, like out of that Stephen West multicolored pattern thing. She wouldn't use it.
No.
Give it up. Just give it up. Make some more gloves. Perfect.
I mean, yeah. I mean, if you think she'll, if she's...
You can always use gloves.
You can always use more gloves.
Yes. So, the My Boy Lollipop. My goal was to get down to do the one decrease and do an inch. So I'm at doing the next decrease. There are a total of 5 decreases. And this week, I will do at least get down another inch to do the next decrease. And then if I finish that godforsaken sleeve, then I can go to town on this, because this is knitting up. It just flies through my fingers. I really like the little bit of color work I did at the top. So this is moving along nicely, and it's the season of the year where I could wear it, so it would be nice to have. I will say the ice machine chills me down quite well, so I end up wearing a sweater downstairs just because I've got one whole leg that's being iced. So it would be nice to have that sweater to wear. So I did get that much done. Didn't do any work on my cross stitch. The cross stitch tends to, I don't know, spread out.
Yeah.
And with this many knitting projects, I like to get a few of these done.
Mm-hmm.
So when I do spread out with my counted cross stitch, it's less chaotic. Is my thought process there. And I've now managed to stick the zipper. So you do something while I get this.
So since I finished the Engle, I was like, all right, I'm going to start my Aunt Fred. So I pulled out the yarn that I got from D-Stash to match this.
But it doesn't match. You can see it.
They're the same color, different dye lots. So
yes.
now I have to swatch it again with the coordinating color. I think it'll still work. I looked, for the size I'm going to make, you only need 900 yards of the main color. So I could theoretically stripe every other motif. And let me see if I can grab my swatch. So theoretically I could, I don't know where the other swatch is. Where's the other swatch? Other swatch. Where is the other swatch?
I don't know.
Other swatch. I think it's here. I think I have it. Haha. Other swatch. So I could do, one, set of blocks in the darker and one set of blocks in the lighter, or I could just do cuffs and collar in the darker and the cuffs, hem and collar in the darker, and then just do the lighter. I'm going to swatch both ideas and then go from there. So yes, we will be on to swatch number 3. So
it's not uncommon for dye lots to change like that.
No.
That's why I have this coat under the table that needs to be fixed. I'm going to apply some paisley designs to it because I didn't have enough to finish the coat. And it was a commercial yarn. It wasn't even a hand-dyed yarn.
yeah.
And the dye lot was different, and it was a very different color that came out. And I didn't really pay attention. I just wanted to get it done. And I wouldn't wear it. I wouldn't wear it in the living room.
Yeah.
So and I'm not taking it apart to stripe the
Old with the new.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that. But if I put the paisley designs embroidered over it, it will take the eye to the paisley.
It will camouflage.
That's right. So that's a long-term project too. That's what 4 years of making.
Something like that.
So I am ready for.
But yeah, so that won't be done for Rhinebeck. We'll see if it gets cast on by Rhinebeck.
Yeah.
Do you have any other projects?
I just have this that I picked out.
Okay. Well, we're going to talk about because that has there's something else that I want to discuss when we go to that. So
okay, go ahead.
So something else I did this week because I apparently have no self-control.
What did you do?
I signed up for a test knit.
Oh, that's right.
It's a beautiful sweater. It's more color work because apparently that's all I can think about doing right now.
And you do it so it's nice and open. I do color work and suddenly it goes.
So it's this sweater.
It's really pretty.
There you go.
Gorgeous.
It's called the serigraphy, the printmaking technique that uses a stencil made of fine synthetic material through which ink is forced.
Yeah.
Serigraphy, whatever. Sweater.
It looks
it's
like silk printing.
Yes, it's again another one by Meiju KP. So it is technically a translated pattern. She writes both in Finn and in English. And testing the
nice.
English. Yeah, this is the gray sweater. The one with
she
the
was
collar.
very nice.
Yes, she is very nice. So I am doing this one, and y'all, I don't know what I was thinking except for like I just and so I made it. I signed up. Well, I signed up when there were more people. Like I was like the 4th or 5th person to sign up, and then for the size I'm knitting, and I was like, if you don't like if you have enough already, don't worry. Like it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of those people dropped out.
Oh my!
They all like deleted their posts.
Really?
Yeah. So of course, what I did was I then, kind of virtually stashed dove, and I made a little list in my notebook at work, and I was like, well, what I can use that olive color yarn, right? Right. What can I use with that? Well, do we remember the countercurrent I did in light blues and greens? Because I do, and that's what I'm going to do.
That's gorgeous.
Yeah, I'm
That
really
is gorgeous.
excited. I should have enough yarn. If not, I might be short on the first color, and if that's the case, I will just find something else in my stash that's similar, or I will use something else. I will figure it out as we go along, but I'm really excited.
That's good.
Because it's a different color palette than I usually do, or
yes,
you know, so.
Although it reminds me of Seafoam.
Yes, and I'm like kind of really drawn to it, so I'm excited about that.
I think
But
I
it's
found
another
Grandma's
test.
knit
Oh, very good. Yes, yes,
with white.
yes,
Yes, I think she would like that a lot.
yes. Malabrigo looks lovely.
Yeah.
But
Perfect. Perfect,
yeah.
perfect.
So what is right here in front of us, Mom?
Okay, so I talked about the Stephen West, and it's his mystery knit along, and I said,
it starts
okay,
on the 9th of October.
right, and I signed up for it. So I'm finding that it's difficult to knit at night in absolute black yarn. I can do it during the daytime, but not so much at night. So I've gone with a dark gray
Okay.
from Little Fox. It's called Vixen.
That's the type of yarn. The colorway is Raven's Wings.
Okay.
So it's got a slight blue to it.
Yeah.
It's nice.
And so then I did, as I had said, I went into our,
Bag O' Stash?
yes, and I found these three to be the
Coordinating colors.
pops of colors. And I
Yeah.
think that that's going to be really nice.
I think it will be too.
I am really looking forward to that.
Yeah.
And then I went and I pulled out all my minis for when I want to circle back around and make the one that he had that was black.
The paint box?
The paint box. I think
it's
that's
called
just,
paint boxes.
I love it. And I'd like to make it as a blanket. I think that as a blanket for while I'm sitting on the sofa, I think that would be wonderful.
I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if he already made it into a blanket. Let's see,
There's Stephen.
and then no, he made a parallelogram blanket and a paint and
And a
brick
sweater.
sweater.
Ooh.
But the shawl is just, and it's painting bricks.
Painting bricks, yes. But what you could do is you could almost make two of the shawls.
Yes.
So that they're joined here
Mm-hmm.
and come out so it makes a circle.
You could.
And that, I think, would be stunning.
Yes.
So anyway, this is his mystery knit along for this fall.
Mhm.
And now I have my colors. So there's that. I have no business looking at patterns on Ravelry, just like I have no business buying yarn. And I think I bought several patterns this week.
Oh my goodness.
Some are digital, some are going to be sent to me. There's one that's a really pretty tunic that was a patterns pattern book that's out of print, and luckily someone on Etsy had it.
Yay.
So that's going to be coming in the mail.
Nice. Well, what I was going to say about the Stephen West
Yes.
is that I don't know if they're going to have a official, cast-on thing. But I was talking to some friends who were doing it, and we might be having our own little virtual cast-on situation.
Oh, with these people I know.
Yes.
There's one name begins with an A.
Possibly.
Okay.
One begins with an S and one begins with a T.
Okay. I think I know the T.
Yes.
The S I'm not sure of.
You do.
I just can't guess with that little bit.
Yes. So,
Cool.
if anyone is looking for some buddies just to
Knit
cast
along
on with, drop me a line, and we'll see about getting you.
We can put a thread in our Ravelry thing.
We can do that.
And we can talk
because
about
we're
it.
also just trying to figure out how we're going to host it, because I don't have a Zoom account. So we're going to figure that out, because Hangouts only has 10 people, but we will figure it out.
Well,
we
we'll
might
have to
use
see how many
Meet.
people we get.
Yeah, we might use Meet, because
All right.
Google, I think, is moving to that. But we'll see. But yes, if you are planning on that and you would like, a buddy, or a few to, you know, just cast on with, let us know. But yeah, that's that. But yeah, so patterns.
Patterns. Oh, yes. I bought, I don't know all that I bought. I'd have to get in there and look at what I put in my queue. Remember the one designer, Vivian, I think, Vivian, something like that. She was on Indian Tangled.
I think Veronica.
Veronica. There was one of her patterns that I managed to purchase.
Yes.
There's a digital book of patterns that I bought. I mean, I'm sitting on the sofa, icing my knee, and these things happen.
And inspiration just took you?
Well, what happened was I do check the free for limited time patterns that we have linked down below. Yeah. And sometimes in looking at those, I see others that the designer has made.
See.
Yes. And then I start looking in the new patterns.
Ah.
You know, especially when I'm working on a sweater whose sleeves I can't stand.
Yes.
So I gotta stop. But as they're in my queue. I have like close to 500 things in my queue, none of which I made. You know, so it's not like it's old. These are things I want to make.
Right.
And it's the only way I've got to figure out that that it's in there.
Ah.
Yes. So it's my list. It's my intentions list.
Good.
Yes. Yes. So I'm really quite pleased. I did a lot this week.
You did.
Yes.
I also realized this week, during the week, that we haven't spoken about advent calendars yet.
Because I bought the sample, the tasting thing.
But didn't you also get the Italian one?
Yes! I did. That's also through India Untangled.
Yeah.
See, you know, this fall, I'm all in for India Untangled. So Lisa had put the note up about the advent calendar, and it was from two hand dyers from Italy that we had on a Zoom meeting. And I thought they were adorable. I really did. I mean, two women that, you know, really were looking to please. They answered questions quite well. I had quite a discussion with them about how hard it was to get yarn in Italy, and who would have thought that? Because there's some beautiful yarns that come out of Italy. I can remember looking at some of those cashmere circle sweaters. In fact, that's why I had this sweater. It's because we had gone out to the Hamptons one fall for the day. We drove out, we had lunch, we came back, but I had in my mind that I wanted one of those nice cashmere circle sweaters. And I had researched. There were two shops in East Hampton. So we went to the first one, and it was a Loro Plano yarn. Oh, it was like butter. They were like butter. And you put it on, and it felt so good. And it was over $1,000. And I said, no. There's a snowball's chance you know where about this. So I said, all right, let's go to the other store. So we did. And that's where I got the beige camel one. That was $250. Now, obviously, I can make them there aren't that many patterns that are that good for circle sweaters that I've been able to find. So, and this is what I wanted right now. And I wore it for years until I managed to wear it out.
True.
So, it did yeoman service. Now, I have a black one that I bought. That's alpaca. And I bought that up in Bar Harbor, Maine, at the alpaca shop. And it feels great. And it's going and going and going and going. It's like the Ever Ready Bunny. So that is really good. And then I made this one.
Which is Neighborhood.
Which is Neighborhood. And it is, I think, it's called the Cocoon. And I love it. So, you know, those are the kind of sweaters that I really like. But it took me quite a while to find the Cocoon pattern. And they don't knit up that fast. I mean, really, it takes a good 2 to 3 months to get it, because it's quite a volume. Now, let's see if I can, sure I've shown you before, but it's a big sweater.
Yeah.
But it is warm.
Yeah.
And, I love
It's
it.
similar to, Hoagie has a few that are like this as well.
So I have not
No, but you have
investigated
those, yeah.
those. So, but this is, and I don't think hers have been out as long as this has been.
I don't know.
So anyway, this, I really like. It lays well. It's a well-fitted sweater, I think. And there's no fitting except for the circle nature of it.
Yeah.
We'll see how the flannel pajama one goes.
So what the company we're talking about is called Lanivendol.
Lani Vendol in Italy, yes.
Yeah. So
So I did pouch buy that.
Advent calendar.
I did, yes. And Richard wants to know why we're only spending X amount less than we did when we worked. I have no idea what happened. I mean, the fact that I brought a brand new suitcase and bicycle. Yeah, well, And I'm working on a new boat, so.
Oh, yeah.
And he's not complaining.
No, he's not.
No, he's actually kind of in on this.
Wow.
Don't you think?
On the boat, yes.
Yes.
On everything else, not so much. But the reason I bring this up is because I purchased 2 Advent calendars this week.
Did you?
I did.
2?
I did.
Oh, you're getting as brash as I am.
Well, I got the vegan yarns one again.
Okay.
So that one, and I got the base that is cotton and bamboo. So that'll be very interesting to work with. And then I was late on the button to get a Asylum Fibers one.
Oh, it is
and
too
it
late,
sold out because she's designing something with Casapinka. And so Casapinka announced it a little while ago, or that day that I was looking at it. Can't remember what day it was. And as I had to go onto site for something, it got sold out.
Mm-hmm.
And onto site, I mean away from my office desk. So I missed out on that. I'm very sad. But I then ended up deciding to go with a Miss Babs one, which also then sold out. All of Miss Babs sold out in, I think, about 36 hours.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
I really like that one.
Yeah. So I figured that was good. And I'm intrigued. I think one of my friends is going to be making me one.
Cool.
Because I keep, this friend had a self-striping one last year, and I keep on saying, if you see that they're doing it again, I want one. But she only uses about 50 to 60 grams of her skeins to make a pair of socks. So she's talking about using her leftovers to make me a calendar.
Very nice.
So I'm a self-striping calendar because apparently I've been very annoying over the last year.
Well, I have to say
this.
the self-striping yarns with the socks just make it so much fun.
Yeah.
To knit them. It's just amazing because as we know, I made one sock of those with the mustache yarn just a little too long because I just kept going and going. I forgot to put it on my foot to check where my ankle was.
Oops
is right.
But yeah, so that'll be a lot of fun. I'm excited about those. But if you were planning on getting any, definitely check. I know a bunch of places said that they were stopping. I don't know if Corgi has one. But I know a bunch of places had them up over the summer and were capping their orders on as of like September 1st.
Yes, it did seem early this year.
Which is also because there is a supply chain
problem
with bare yarn. And that's something that we all are having, to deal with. But this is also why we have stashes. And why dyers tend to have a lot of stock in-house. But for mini skeins, that's hard to keep that much on hand for the advent calendars and such. Mm-hmm. So just wanted to remind everyone that that is something to definitely, take a look at. If you're not sure who has one, where you can go for one, Amba O'Brien has her list up in her group. She also has a whole bunch of shawls and a blanket, and she has a sweater coming out.
Cool.
And it's essentially a gradient from one arm over to the other arm.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
nice.
For this year. So you can check it out there. But I did want to mention that because
Sounds like you were a bit snuffed there.
I was very upset that I missed out on the...
Yes, because normally we want to get her a silent one.
I know. Well, and with the whole having a new job situation, I wanted to wait until I had a job, and I had 2 paychecks under my belt. So
yes,
that was key.
And I've got at least 3 or 4 years of advent calendar.
That's also part of it. Is that
I really need to use it. So I think the painted bricks would be a good use.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something.
Yeah, and I haven't picked up my jig shawl because I haven't had a lot that I've needed, that time to just have something to knit on that a sweater would.
Well, you're not on the subway anymore.
Well, it's not the subway part. It's more of because I was doing it on calls that I wouldn't have to really interact with. But I'm finding my sweaters can do that just as well, especially because I was on the sleeves of this one. Mm-hmm. But we will see now that we have a few other things now that are a bit more complicated.
It is fun to cast on.
It's so much fun. But I do want to get the pixelated sweater done, hopefully. Yes. I don't think it'll be done this month. I think it'll be done early in October. I don't think I can get it done in the next 3 days.
Okay, so now I've gotten my warping board.
Yes.
Of the new, Reed. The new Reed came for the big machine. Mm-hmm. But at the moment, I can't sit in the chair that long. And I don't have a separate stand for the looms. So I don't know that I'm going to get any work done on the weaving this week. Maybe next week. Because really, I don't think there's a whole lot more. There's like a tea towel's worth left on the loom. And I have the cotton linen for the Raya towels, the towels that have body in them. But that may be something I do in October. So I would like to press ahead with my boy Lollipop and get that done once I finish those sleeves. Those sleeves. But it's a possibility that they'll get finished this week. I think there's a real possibility. I'm so done. So done.
You're over it.
I'm over it. And as we said, it is getting cooler.
Yes.
I mean, we're not having the 90 to 95 degree days anymore.
No.
I'm amazed the summer went that fast. You're saying, well, because of being inside and stuff like that. I'm not retired. And in fact, I had an email from one of the professors at my school asking if I wanted to team teach in the spring. I thought Richard was going to throw a cow. Not that I think we're going to be doing anything between January and March at all. But it doesn't fit his or my view of what retirement should be. So I had recorded those lectures, and I said, be my guest, use the recorded lectures, but I really think you need to find somebody who's working to do this rather than someone who's retired. So anyway, I haven't gotten an email back, so we'll see what happens. it's nice to be asked. It's always nice to be asked to the dance.
Yes.
Yes. And apparently we are quite the hit with the in-class exercises that we have them do. So, I don't know. I really don't know. And I do it all online. So they get me a TA who goes in and does it because I honestly don't want to drive up into the Bronx in the wintertime at night. It's a night class. And so what might be melted during the day is already refrozen at night. So it doesn't interest me at all to actually show up in person. No, didn't last year, not this year either. So, you know, we'll see what happens. But nice to be asked. So nice to be asked.
You're ridiculous.
I am. Absolutely ridiculous. What can I tell you?
But yeah, so I think we've
about wandered on about as much as we need to. I think we need to weave in our ends. I think we've invited you all to do a cast on it, and we'll figure out if we can have an online meetup.
Yeah.
Which would be fun, because then we get to see you all.
Yes.
I do apologize for the darker recording last week. We actually tried to have more light on the subject and ended up with less than the week before. You know, who knows? Technical is not my middle name. So, but we're
I
here
had
now.
forgotten to bring the big lights from my apartment home. So
Right. We have spotlights.
We have
And bouncer
larger
lights.
box lights, but it was...
We're back up here now.
We're up here now,
That's right.
and we do not foresee you not being able to do stairs, so...
I got up. I go up.
You guys don't even understand how confused I was when she did that.
First of all, these sit-to-stands or stand-to-sits at physical therapy, they had me doing slow count ones right before the surgery. They were killers. Like, slowly stand up to a count of 4 seconds. So 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000. And then slowly sit down to the same count. That was hard. Not hard to do, but hard on the muscles.
Yes.
And then when I tried to do just a simple one yesterday, I couldn't even get out of the chair. Like, the leg went, no, I'm not doing that.
That is not part of the plan for
I'm
today.
I'm not doing that. That's right. That's not part of the plan today. I was so speechless when it worked, and I just rose up.
You did.
I know. Whereas before I've been clutching with cane, I've been doing all kinds of stuff. So, you know, the bending of the leg is going well. So I'm really pleased with that. I'm a happy camper.
You are.
I really am.
You really are.
This is much better than I thought it was going to be. It really is. I was dreading what the first 3 or 4 weeks were going to be because my father said it was a good 6 weeks of hell and then 3 weeks more. You know, his vision was always 9 weeks of physical therapy after a knee, and then it was well worth it. But he said it's really bad, and I was waiting for it to get really bad. You know, the first week was painful, but gee, 1 week. Who can't do that? So
I mean, you also might have just been lucky. It
I did,
also might
well,
be the fact that it was a partial, you know?
yes, I mean any number of different things, but this has turned out really well.
So, I think we've waffled on, as we said. So we're gonna, maybe I'll weave in the ends on the sweater. Maybe I won't. We'll see.
I think you need to because
I know
it's
they're
over.
on my sleeves.
Yes.
I know. I at least need to do the end, like the bind off ones.
Yes, you do.
So that they're
this
not.
thing, this thing has been wafting in my face.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Well, I am currently about halfway through my tubular cast on, so that's exciting. But yeah, we will talk to you all
Talk to you next
next
week.
week. Bye.
Bye.